Right,
Got it.
recording is definitely in fucking progress.
But just not in our system. It'll be the neighbours or somebody else's.
Yeah, it's there. I heard it. Right. Woo! Cool. Hi.
Hello, how are you? Long time no
I'm
see.
good. It feels like it's been a long time, but it's just because for anyone who doesn't know and didn't see our video, we did a good hour and a half of the most quality content I think we've ever spouted from our mouths, only to find out we hadn't recorded. So we've had a good 3 week break since then because it destroyed our souls.
Yeah. Do you
Frankly.
know, it was really good. It was really interesting. And I think what I really like about having conversations with you is we start off in one particular place and we weave around and we kind of go different kind of thing. That was a really good example of that because that was an hour and a half of talking about so many different things, and then we don't have it.
But
And the
then
good
we
thing is,
managed to loop we managed to loop right back to the original point. So I
yeah,
wonder if we can do that.
yeah,
This is our personal challenge. We'll have a topic,
yeah,
go chat about whatever else comes to our minds and see if we can somehow loop it back. And if
yeah,
we can't, there's a forfeit.
yeah. Okay, yeah. What are we going to talk about then? What's the
Well, you and I were both on a call, not call, it was a Zoom call about trying to organise ourselves a wee bit better and how we work with our business and plans and things like that. So it'd be quite interesting to talk about how our brains work when we're actually trying to work, if that makes sense. Because I think
Yeah,
it's
okay.
because sometimes I don't work the way I want to work. The way I, in my head, the way I want to be able to work is not what actually comes out, and that really annoys me. So it'd be quite interesting to see your
Right.
kind of take on what you do.
Okay. I've been asked before how, especially if you're talking to potential new kind of client and you're kind of onboarding and they want to find out who you are and what you do and what you can do for them. So I've had the question before, how do you work? What is your process?
Yeah.
And I've seen fantastic people speaking about their other people speaking about their process, and it's down to pat. They can drop off a hat, they can give you a minute of what how they say things. My process kind of changes by a lot of different factors. It changes with the client. I think it changes mainly with the client and what the client's requirements are. But there's probably other things going on that my process changes depending on maybe my mood, maybe the environment, what other things I've got on. So I would love to see, well, what I do is I sit down and I do first part is research, the second part is this, the third part is this, and this comes up with a conclusion. But I don't work like that. My brain doesn't work like that. So for me, the easiest way to describe it is, one of those like snow globes.
Mm-hmm.
You shake it. When I start talking to a client, it's my brain starts coming up with all these kind of ideas. And there's all little bits of things. I've got a thread of an idea and a little, oh, it's gone again. And then after a while, it kind of starts to settle down. And then I've got a picture of what I need to do with that client.
Yeah.
So it's very much, I suppose every time you shake a snow globe, you're never going to get the same combination of things moving about and stuff like that if you went to kind of micro kind of level.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works. Every single job is different, and every process is slightly different depending on. So I do things higgledy piggledy sometimes, and I do things kind of out sequence that.
But then you'll go to things like the thing we were at today, and it was the thermometer, and it was
Yeah,
where are you with processes,
yeah,
and my processes were at 2 out of a possible 5 because I want to streamline like that. I want to say, right, do you know, hi client, this is what we
yeah,
do. Send this, send this. Okay. In the next 2 weeks, I'll have this, this, and
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Maybe it's the industry we're in. Maybe it's
So
because it is a creative thing, but I'm
yeah,
very much like you. It's like, what do you want?
yeah.
I'll help
I
you,
like
sure.
I like the thing. I think if you sometimes because it is a very creative industry, I don't like to put too many kind of rules and regulations
Mhm.
on things, and I don't like to try and box in how I do things because whoever I come up with an idea, whether it's walking down the street, whether it's making a coffee, whether I'm sitting in the toilet, however it works, right? And however get the ideas, So I don't really want a kind of process as such. I'll say to a client, this is what we'll do for you, and that you'll, at the end you'll have this. But my process does change, and there's no point in me saying to a client every single time I do something, it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to a client, I say this is what we'll do, because that's the thing you kind of should say. But I do explain my way my brain works is things happen at different kind of times, and I just allow it to happen. But it's a creative world, so the whole point of it is being we don't work by I don't work by a formula.
I think I get overexcited sometimes with ideas. So if it's like on board, and fair enough, like you say, you can have like a kind of, this is what we'll do and what we'll work on. But then someone will come to you with, oh, I was thinking we could do a campaign about this. And then you start going, oh, we could do that. And you start filling in loads of ideas, and then you get really excited. And then you hang up for the call, and then you go, why did I say that? Because I've just given myself double the amount of work. They were quite happy with just a simple campaign. Suddenly I've launched a full podcast.
Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that brilliant from a client's point of view? If they go, I want something, and then you give them more, and you give them something that they probably not considered or they didn't think was possible. I think that's the experience, and that's the benefit, or one of the advantages of using somebody or working with somebody like yourself or myself, or is that you're going to get more than you
bargained for,
or you anticipated, but in a good way. Because I think we all have ideas. I love talking to a client. I love, like, when we have conversations about things, about potential projects we might work on, it develops quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a one-way conversation. So I'll say something to you, you'll say something to me, or you'll say something to me, I'll say something, and it goes back and it starts to develop. Then it starts to go into something we've already kind of had a wee snow globe thought about, and then it starts to solidify, and it starts to become a picture. But I think from any kind of client, why wouldn't a client go, listen, this is what we're looking for? You go, yeah, we can do that. And how about also doing this? You're a wee bit further down the road.
Yeah.
That's your kind of job. I think it's a great benefit for any client.
For the clients.
Yeah.
It's just not a great benefit for me, who then has to do it all.
Well, this is the thing. It's that thing. How do you charge for it, or do you go, that's the other kind of thing? Go, right, okay, that's what you need. We can charge for that. But as moving on, if you want to consider that part, which I hadn't considered before, it would be that.
Interestingly, this is where, and I think it's maybe a bit of a naivety of being new to business, is that's where I've been stung quite a lot of the time, because I'll come out with all these ideas and suddenly the workload has tripled for me, but they've agreed a price based on what I had originally said. And then I go, well, and I haven't challenged myself to go, well, actually now we need to revisit your pricing.
Yeah.
Because they get all caught up in it and get excited. Then I go, right, okay. And then suddenly I'm doing a million things for nothing.
No wonder they're excited.
I know.
All this stuff, they're fantastic. I expected this, and I'm getting all this. And I'm getting for the same price. That's absolutely.
I need to start getting like a lawyer's mindset of every conversation is going to cost you. So if you're going to take half an hour of my time, that's half an hour money. That's what I need to do.
It's a difficult
thing. It's fine. Just phone me.
I think you said the right thing about a kind of solicitor lawyer. They operate like 150, 200, 500 pounds, £1,000 an hour. It's very much every conversation there's a price.
You're paying for it.
You're paying for it. They're professionals. They're highly skilled and highly trained. And you're paying for the experience of whatever your problem is. They're going to kind of sort it out. It slips down from that. Graphic designers and creatives and social media people incorporate. I don't think they're certainly not held in the same esteem. I think they used in the 70s, being a graphic designer and advertising was quite a high status thing.
Like back then.
Yeah. It's just not as important. But I think being creative and having that, wanting to do something interesting, I think we get caught up in our own excitement about something. I've done it plenty of times. I've done stuff for clients and I've gone, me and my big mouth. Why did I say that? Because you get excited in the project, you see the possibilities of it, and your mind starts kind of going. So for us, it's very much like, you know, a creative product or a creative service or something we're kind of creating, where it's not that for solicitors and that they're not creating anything. It's they've
got a process because that is the process.
No motion to it. There's no motion to a solicitor's or lawyer's thing. It's a law.
Imagine a lawyer. Imagine you went to a lawyer and said, right, oh, I just need you to draw up little agreement because I'm moving in with my partner and we want to just have that. So if you could draw up agreement. And they got as excited about it as creatives. And they were like, "Oh, why don't you get divorced? Why don't you get married, divorce them, and then I'll do that. I'll charge you to get divorced as well." That's the equivalent of it. That's what we do as creatives. Why don't you do
You
it?
need a will. You need a will. Well, I can do wills as well. I'll get your will written in. I'll get that written in as well. And any other
A
legal
lot.
disputes going on with somebody, give me them as well. I'll put it all, roll it into one thing, one price.
And they get so buzzing about it that they get so like, listen, how many people are in your family? We'll do a family will. Chuck them all in. What if you're all in a car accident together?
But it is how. But it's. I think it is that's the big danger. You get carried away because you're enthusiastic about something and you're eager to do something and you know what you can do. And the kind of
it worries me that you've been in this game longer than me and you still do that, because I was hoping my excitement by that point would have failed. And I just go, right, that's what you're getting.
Excitement is good. You know that excitement is good because clients do buy into it. The knack is just to go, okay, if I'm doing this stuff extra and you want that, then there has to be some sort of compromise on it and that you pay. And that's it. And if it's a good idea and clients buy it and they like go, do you know what? We never thought of going that far. We never thought, but now that now that Emma's explained it to us, and they start to get enthusiastic, they can see the potential of it. So
it's just closing that sale.
It's just saying to obviously that can, and most people understand everything costs something. You know, you can't keep giving stuff away for free. If you were a shop and you were giving stuff away for free, it'd be closed very kind of quickly. Yeah. So if somebody values you and you say, or a client values you and you say, listen, you know, I've got to charge more for this, or this is what you kind of look, but if I want to do these other things, 99% of the time, they'll go, yeah, great. If they don't, that's when you've got to make that decision. Is this a client I want to work with?
Yeah.
Is because I'm given, I've got the experience, I've got the skill, I've got the know-how. I'm giving them the time of day and having a conversation with them. I've given them ideas, and they don't value that. They don't want to pay for it. Okay, and that's a tough thing to do, to kind of say to somebody, do you know what? I'm not
the one for you. I'll get my lawyer on this.
Yeah, but unless you ask, I know. I was going to say that's fine. That's first one email. That's £150. Meeting. That's 250.
Actually, I wish you could charge per email and call, because people would see if you could pay per word. People would say a lot less and get to the point, because that's what I'm like. Just what do you want? Just tell me what you want. And I don't mean just in a business sense. I mean everyone. I've got a friend who texts like a line and then a line, then a line, then I'm like, what is it? What do you want? So maybe we should.
I've got one of them as well. Who it's one conversation, but it's I've got one as well.
Staggered out, and
I don't get it.
No, just what is it? What do you want?
You're saying about kind of paint by word and kind of things like that years and years ago when faxes were still around. It was quite interesting. If clients wanted changes to a brochure, it'd all be typeset by a typesetting kind of company, and then Apple Macs came in and people were still starting to typeset things themselves in, I think it was PageMaker, which is now replaced by InDesign. So you start to do kind of page layouts, but email wasn't around, so people would, or you print it out on your printer and you'd fax it over to a client. So the client would have to sit and actually physically write stuff and then go back and fax it back. And the process was quite long. The fax would come through, somebody would then pick it up, it slowed it down. But what I noticed with faxes was that the clients were far more accurate and would spend the time once doing it. Whereas now with a PDF, I can go to a client and then another PDF, it's instant. So I think that where clients would go, I can't be bothered looking at 20 faxes, but they'll bother looking at 20 PDFs because it's so quick, it's so easy for people to change things and move that. It wasn't, especially like moving a picture on an InDesign, it's relatively easy to do. Years ago, you'd have to go back to the typesetter who'd curse and swear, use a scalpel to lift up all the letters. Those days, or even PageMaker was clunky. You'd have to print it out and all that kind of stuff.
Well, because I actually, funnily, when I used to work in, it was property management for and doing the marketing for this business park, and there was constantly emails. It was non-stop. You would go away for your lunch, come back, and it was like, and it's a back and forth. And I remember saying that to one of the guys who'd been in the industry for years and years and years. And I said, well, what happened before email? Just a throwaway comment. What happened before email? And he said, we wrote letters. And people just made sure it was done right the first time. So it was exactly that. He said things were slower but accurate, exactly what you're saying. So you would go, someone would spend so much time, but they knew it was going to take 3-4 days to get to you and then get a return, a reply. So make sure it counts.
Exactly. And that's again how processes change. So I said, my process of working years ago, starting out would have been different. And as time goes on and technology changes and client demand is changing, my processes had to change as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the process years ago would have been one client, one job at one time.
Yeah.
I can't remember when I was doing one client job at one time. It seems to be it's just constant because you're a one-man band or a one-man band and you get so many things. You're your own HR department, your own accounts, your own social media, your own design, your own this, your own salesperson, your own managing director. Every single role you're having to do pretty much on every day at some given point. So the way I've worked and my process of working has had to change from the design side to getting ideas and all that to also accommodate all these other things which are demands of my time.
It is insane how much you manage to fit into your day now that when you work for yourself compared to like if I some of my friends they're like, oh, I was working on this today. And I'm like, oh my God, imagine working on one project.
Yeah.
Like my head is just a constant, what if I do next? What if I do next? What if I do next? Even when I'm writing, think, actually, that's a good question. How do you do it? So see your day when you're working on your day. So do you have a plan? Do you have a structure and do you stick to it?
Yeah, I've got a plan. So so I have multiple kind of files open at any one time. So I've got an Excel spreadsheet of every job that's kind of coming in from a client or potential job. So that'll be the date of the inquiry. It'll be for the client. It'll be for what the job is, and I'll put in any costs I've given or any kind of notes. So I can look at that. I also then have, and I won't show you my desk, thankfully, because it's an absolute mess, but I also have a pad where I write down things where I go, okay, these are things I've got to be aware of. These are current jobs. They're on the list, but some of those things on the list are just like clients saying, listen, next week I'm going to need a brochure from you, or next week I've got something starting. So I'll put that in on my list so I can go back and go, I wonder what's happened to that job if it's not come in. Mm-hmm. I can keep track of it for invoicing. But more immediate stuff goes on the pad. What I do is, well, once these jobs are underway, I usually start them quite quickly. I will obviously email contact is preferred with me for the clients just for ease of use and tracking things. So I will email clients about the job. They'll send me over the information. I'll start the brochure. I'll send a first draft. And every time I've sent an email to that client, I take their email out of the kind of mailbox and put it into their folder.
Mm-hmm.
So in my email, if I looked at my email now, I'd only be looking at jobs I have to start and jobs where the client has just emailed me. Everything else is in folders until that kind of client gets back to me. So what that does for me, it makes it look nice and clean. When I look at my inbox, it's not like hundreds of emails and spam and all the rest. It's always kind of really nice and neat. I've got my pad of paper, which I will refer to because I write things down in a little kind of notes. And then I also use Monday.com for another.
I love Monday.
Set of things. So I've got Monday.com, which is basically like a bit of a replica of the Excel sheet. The Excel sheet's really used for invoicing. The Monday is really is a list without the prices. It's a strange way. So I've got 2 or 3 lists, so 4 lists of jobs and where they are at any one time.
See, you actually are a lot more structured than you gave the impression of at the start.
Structured. That's not the creative side. So the actual business side is quite structured.
Yeah.
I'm really good at if people email now. I've spoken to various kind of business coaches and business people who say, if somebody emails you, don't email them immediately. Have like 2 half-hour slots in the morning and afternoon, and then respond in those kind of times. I don't do it that way because I think for me, I like if I email somebody, I want to get a quick response or a notification that somebody has. Like, I can't do that now, but I'll get back to you. And I go, great, they've got that. it's part of a control thing, and it's part of knowing that if I don't get a response from somebody, did they get that email?
Yeah.
Missed it? Have they accidentally deleted it? So I'm very organized in terms of responding to people. I'm very organized in taking notes of things. I'm very organized in getting jobs started and checking over that everything's okay. I do all that bit, all the structured bit. So when it comes to the creative bit, I don't have to be structured.
Yeah. I like it. Do you know that my key bit of advice that I've took from that is use email as your source of communication, because mine right now is the phone, and it drives me insane because I used to have a work phone, and I had my phone, and then I would forget the work phone. So then I would just say, oh, I've never got that, just take this number. So I have everyone on the one phone now. And I get WhatsApps from clients, I get voice notes, somebody will just phone me, somebody will video call me, and that's great. And it means it's really easy for me to just pick it up. But what it also means is if I'm in the middle of a project for one client and my head's in that space, suddenly that starts ringing, and you're not going to ignore it. So you go, right, hi. So you start talking about that project, and then you're like,
And
and
then you forget the thread of where you were, another thing. Yeah.
And I'm finding as well that it's impacting my personal communication, because I've got friends on WhatsApp that have sent me like a voice note, and it's like 2 minutes long, and I'm like, I've not got time to listen to that. So it goes down the filter. So then I don't actually answer them. And then the social media side of it, I mean, I'm busy doing everyone else's social media. I can't remember the last time I posted about my business on social media, because my day is caught up on other people's. The last thing you want to do is then go, right, me.
Yeah.
So I find now I'm too accessible for people. And it's my own fault, because I've given people my number and been like, yeah, just phone me. If you need it, just give me a phone. And at the time, I think that comes down to the start process, the onboarding thing. When I'm talking to someone, they are my bubble. I'm like, right, oh, I've got so many ideas for us. We can do this, we can do that, we can do this. If you've got anything, send it over to me. Here's my number, blah, 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 blah. And you're so excited about it. And then after the meeting, half an hour later, you forget you've got another X amount of clients all doing the same thing. So you're like,
Yeah.
and it's not, and I think that's where my process kind of falls down, because I'm very organized with files, with Monday, with this, and I've got very good intentions every morning. I've got, right, this is what I'm working on today. But what I'm working on today isn't necessarily what my phone's going to allow me to work on, because if someone phones me, then that's it.
It's tough with that. So I do get clients who will, I'll get messages on text through Messenger, WhatsApp, just general text, voice notes. I think we all get those kind of things. If I get a message from a kind of client and it's for a new job, or they're phoning about something, I will then write it on my little pad, and I'll log it in my little. If it's a job, I'll put it into my Excel spreadsheet. So because I know either way, my big thing is if I'm getting messages on WhatsApp and Messenger, and if things happen, there's a danger I'll forget about Messenger or WhatsApp, because I'm not looking at it at the time. I've always got my email open, so I will then, and the spreadsheet sits next to it. So I will transfer that information, write it here. So say Stephen calls, or he's left a message about asking about something. I'll write down Stephen called, and a very quick kind of note, we scribble, because it's written on that.
Yeah.
I know, and as I say, there's things I've scored out as I work my way through. I know that I've got to get back to Steve and do that, so I don't forget things. So it doesn't bother me as much when clients contact me. Generally, what I will do, it was 90% of the time I'll email them back.
Yeah.
Because it's not saying to them not to contact by WhatsApp. Some people are out in the field, depending on what they do, so they don't have it's just WhatsApp. Mate, can you do this, or how's things going with that, or that's fine. I will generally try and email back, because it's easier for me then to kind of go back and track and remember, and it's a process. If anything ever goes wrong, which it very rarely does, sometimes things do go wrong, or there's a wee bit of a mix-up in communication.
Yeah.
I've got a chain, and I'm not having to look on, email, WhatsApp, voice note to try and kind of piece out what it just
It's
makes
that
it so linear.
in the way I work and the way if someone else had to come into this, they'd go, what? Like, whereas I'm used to it now, I know where I am and I know what my scribbles mean. I know where I put everything. But it's that kind of keeping accountability for, right, they've phoned, they've done this. I need to have a kind of process there to make sure that I'm not letting anyone down with it. So far, so good.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, just trying to streamline. I think this is what I need to work on, is streamline a kind of process of logging things, even so that I'm not as I hate being reactive to things. I like to be ahead of the game, and this is something that I've discovered about myself in the last couple of months, really. I am not a flappable person. If something goes wrong, I'm the person that goes, hey, it's fine, we'll sort it, it's fine. But I don't like getting chased for something. And if someone's chasing me for something, it means I've dropped the ball somewhere on my. But that isn't always the case. Sometimes people are just wanting, an update on something, and I panic and go, because I like to be the one to say to them, this is the update on it. And I'm trying to work on that because yeah, I hate being reactive to someone else's call or someone else's question. I like to be the one to go, this is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. But that's too much pressure to put on yourself.
Yeah, I think you've got to be realistic as well. I mean, sometimes there's things going on in your life, and sometimes you do drop the ball. There's other things can happen in an instant that kind of change your life and how you kind of work. We all make mistakes. We all drop the ball sometimes. Things always slip through. And there's nothing you can really do about that. Every system has a weak point. Every system has a human at the end of it or at the start of it, and that's where kind of things generally kind of slip. So I have all these kind of systems in place, which somebody might look at and go, God, you can actually do all of that on Monday. But I don't like to leave it all to just one platform, because I think you put all your eggs in one basket. So I like to write things down. I like to kind of put things in different things, because that way I've got at least 1, 2, 3 tracks of the same job.
Yeah.
At least 3. And that way that helps me to not drop the ball, especially when things come through. Like on a Friday, I might get a WhatsApp from a client at 7 o'clock, 6:30. I'm sitting watching TV. I might have a glass of wine or whatever. I'm winding down and I'll go, yeah, no problem at all. I'll get that to you start next week, or I'll get the price to you next week. That's instantly out of my head 10 minutes later, because it's Friday night. I'm off, I'm not doing work on Saturday. I'm not doing work. When it comes to Monday, I'll go, so I do kind of check through kind of what's that. But because I keep everything as much as possible written down, if there's anything comes over the weekend, it's only usually a couple of, if I'm ever forgetting, it's a couple of things. It's not a lot of things, because everything else. So something comes in on a Friday and I forget to get back, or I go, oh God, on the Tuesday, God, I should have got back to that person. I forgive myself by going, do you know what? 99% of things I've written down. It's came through me at 7 o'clock on a Friday. I usually do remember. I'll go through my WhatsApps and go, God, that person asked me for something, and then I can put it into the book and that. So I think
I'm not very forgiving of myself with that. I
think you have to.
Sakes, Emma, like I get really annoyed at myself for it and that's why I think the difference as well is I don't have that unless I physically can't do something. If I was sitting there on the Friday and someone phones me or texts me, I'll go, I better just do it the now, and I go and do it.
Yeah.
Unless I'm I've had clients contact me at the weekend and I've been at a wedding and I'm like, well, I can't do anything about it just now. So then I'll message them and say I'm at a wedding. But like 9 times out of 10, I'll go, right, I better just go do that. And I think I could count on one hand the amount of times I've had a full day of no work.
Right.
And that's it.
Now, if you were a solicitor or a lawyer,
I'd be rolling in it.
contact me on a Saturday, you're paying. I don't think a solicitor or a lawyer would even respond to somebody out of office, or anything like that, or a Saturday or Sunday. So again, you've, and I am guilty of this as well. I've got clients who are pals, or they were clients now
they're pals,
and stuff like that. So sometimes people text you through, you go, okay, and you answer. We all do that. I mean, Ange, my wife, has said to me many times, You finish at 5 o'clock or half five on a Friday, you should not respond, because what you're doing is by you responding to texts and emails, as you're saying, it's acceptable for you to phone me. It's acceptable for you to email me, stuff like that. Especially when you can send your email, or you can schedule it for Monday 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. You don't have to send it on the Saturday. So you're almost asking the person to look at that. It's my choice to look at it. Sometimes I'll go respond to it. I was more years ago. I was more like yourself, reactive. That if it came through, I'd go. Somebody's rang a little bell. I'd spring into action. I've got to respond to that at 9 o'clock at night. I'll put the Apple Mac on and I'll respond and stuff like that. And I think I just don't do it like that now. If it's something that, if something comes through, it's my choice. If I open it up and I look at it and I go, okay, will I respond or not? Sometimes I will. Other times I won't. But I think we're all kind of conditioned now to kind of, or a lot of us to kind of respond.
Well, that's it, and it's something I'm very, very aware of now. So I'm now really trying to figure out ways to not do that. So I will now try to work like set hours on a day. So I never started when I first started the business. It was kind of, I work for myself, I can work my own hours, blah, 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 blah. And I'd work at night because I enjoyed that. Now I go, actually, I'm working day and night, so let's reel that in. So now I'll go, right, I'm going to work from 10 till 6, and that's it. And I'll have a half an hour lunch break or an hour lunch break, and I'll come back and do it. And I'm trying to be a bit more structured with it. And I was actually at a workshop with Lee Foster, and Jay was there, and Jay was talking about his diary. And he was showing just, mine's all colour coordinated, and if it's an external meeting, if it's this, if it's that. And the one thing that he said that I went, I'm going to do that and I've actioned it today, is buffers. I didn't have any of them. I didn't filter in for the fact that I would have a call from 2 till 2:30 and then another call at 2:30, or even at 3. So even if you have half an hour, but you're just springing into step constantly with it. And I thought, I need to take a bit more control over, I might want to go make a cup of coffee and sit for a minute and process what the hell I've just spoke about, rather than jumping from one client's call to the next. And just even travel time. I don't know what teleportation, oh my God, how do you say the word?
Teleportation.
Teleportation.
Teleportation
method I seem to have. But I will say things like, right, I've got a networking thing in Glasgow, cool, that finishes at 12. There's another thing I have to be at Livingston at 1, right, that's fine. And then I'll see that and I'll go, right, so you've got now half an hour, because apparently, according to me, I will leave as soon as 1 o'clock hits,
That's it, you go. Of course, that's always happening networking. You always just go, bye everyone, and you run out the door.
And then someone stops you and goes, hi, it's good to see you. And you're like, shit, you're eating into my time here. So
beat it, pal. This is my time now.
Listen, I've not got time to network after my networking. I've got stuff to do. But it's starting to actually have a bit more control about my diary. So I spent a good wee while this morning actually just streamlining that and going, well, I'm going to give myself time to not be as erratic with it. I want to get to a point where, and I've gave myself a deadline of this week to get it sorted. I want to be a level playing field by Monday, that I can say, on Monday I'm working on this client. Tuesday I'm working this client. Whether that'll happen, I don't know.
Oh, I pity the fool.
Is that not going to work?
You know it's not going to work. No, it will do. I think you should try it. I think I love people when they say, do you know what? I'm going to swim the channel. I'm going to do it. How much? I can't swim at the moment, but next week I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I believe in myself. I believe in you, Emma. I think you'll do that. But
you know what? We'll catch up on this. Right?
We'll do it. I'll catch up. Have you done it?
So, yep. By this week, I'm going to have caught up with everything I want to catch up on by this week, so that for next week, for Monday, I have my set. This is my client. This is my client. This is my, and I know what I'm doing. So when we speak next, I'll either be going, I've done it, or I'll be going,
or you need
Don't
to tweak it slightly. It might be it kind of works to a certain thing, but then you kind of tweak things to kind of fit what you want. Things like right, Calendly is a fantastic thing. Have I set it up? No.
know.
I've got it. It's sitting open for months. I've had it Calendly. Why don't I change it? Because what I realized and what I recognized quite quickly was for me putting it in. I know you can block off things, but me putting in certain times and dates, I quite like the flexibility of not having meetings at certain times and certain days and kind of things like that. And jobs for me would Calendly work. I like the idea of it. I like that kind of quite organized. We have set times for kind of meetings. But my clients don't have set times for kind of meetings and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Sometimes you need that client going, "Are you about now?" A WhatsApp, a messenger thing, an
that's true.
email, a phone call. Have you got time to speak now? So I think it kind of works really well. But the way I quite like not being as organized that, because I think there's so much stuff I have organized that I quite like the fluidity of a day where I've got meetings booked in, but I don't really want that structure of having that, you know,
And
times.
that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a bit too constrictive for me. So I like having
I
things
think
in
I
the
need
diary.
that.
Yeah,
Until proven otherwise, I think this is what I need in my life, so I'm going to try it.
try it. I think it'd
I
be
do.
quite good.
I do have it's so I don't use Calendly. I don't like it. I used Google Meet for it because you can do the same thing for that, and you can get it so that when I send out a diary link, so if somebody says they want a one-to-one, I've got times that they can book in. There's a Wednesday. You cannot book in with me on a Wednesday during the day. If I send you this link, it won't happen because the Wednesday was going to be the day that I worked on my business. That was only, and then other clients for the other days. I've had 4 meetings today already because I didn't send the link because I just said, "Ah, that's fine." You know, so it's
Yeah,
one of those ones that, in theory, you couldn't arrange to on my calendar to speak to me before 10:30 in the morning. I don't want to speak to you before anyone before 10:30 in the morning. I had a call this morning at
yeah.
9:30 because it's what you do.
So
It's
why is
just
that? Is that just, are you kind of a late or night owl and you don't like the kind of early mornings? Are you doing work at that time, or is it just like I can't face talking to anybody before 10:30 when I've had 5 coffees and
I like to have my ducks in a row for my day of what I'm doing. So I will plan, I'll try my best the night before before I go to bed and everything, I'll look at what my day's going to look like the next day. And I think about what I kind of want to achieve with it. So if someone then phones me at 9 o'clock and I'll be honest, 9 o'clock, I'm watching The Simpsons, having a coffee and porridge. That's what I do. I watch The Simpsons every morning and I sit with my coffee. That is my routine. My dog walker comes, picks the dog up at, oh, he's just come in. Hello. Did we hear you talking about this? My dog walker comes in at 9:10, takes him. When she takes him, then I go, right, I can hoover because he's terrified of the hoover. And then I'll go get changed and like shower and all this stuff. And then I sit down with my coffee and go, right, I know what I'm doing now. And that's usually 10 o'clock. That gives me a window of half an hour before I need to actually speak to anyone. And that is my flying.
that's interesting. So there's a process there of what you like. Now, that's funny. I'm okay meeting people early in the morning, 9 o'clock or 8 or 7:30 in the morning.
Oh God.
It really doesn't phase me. It's more difficult when the weather turns bad and it's like dark mornings and it's like pitch black. That feels a wee bit more like but during a summer, spring, I don't mind having really early meetings. I don't like having meetings on a Monday.
Oh,
I'm in a bad mood on a Monday. I'm in a bad
noted.
mood. It's just I've noticed this. I'm better just doing what I'm meant to do on the Monday. So I will have meetings with people in the afternoon, definitely. Monday morning, I like to just go right, okay, and start working. I just don't have meetings with clients because I'm in a bad mood because it's a
It's just
Monday.
programming.
It's
Feel
a
like
Monday. Yeah,
Garfield.
I love doing what I do. I love doing what I do. So I think Mondays are a bit bittersweet. Then on one hand, you go, right, it's going to be an interesting week. I've got this job to do, and there's this bit of packaging coming in as a logo for somebody to do. On the other side of it, it's like the awareness that there's going to be a lot of stress during the week. There's going to be strain. There's going to be things that go wrong. There's going to be a lot of chasing people. The usual kind of stuff when you're having a business that you have to kind of do. There'll be things that go wrong. And I think for me on a Monday morning, it's that double-edged sword where I know it's not a good thing, but it's also the start.
It's the start of it.
Start what could be a bad thing. So usually kind of I've had Mondays where I've just gone, do you know what? There's one actually Monday about everything went wrong for all my processes about 4 weeks ago. And that Monday, I could quite easily have just gone, phone my accountant, close the business down. I've had enough. It's just one of those days where everything hit on a Monday and it was kind of bad. And we all have those kind of things. But I get out of that kind. So if you ever contact me on Monday and I'm just silent,
that's why. See, that's just any day before 10:30.
It's interesting that.
That's my cut-off.
Every other day for me is fine. In fact, I probably, the rest of the week's absolutely fine. Even the weekends.
I love working on a Sunday. That's my favourite day to work.
Don't like working on a Sunday. I'd rather work on a Saturday. Yeah, I don't like work. I think Sunday is the precursor to the worst day of the week, which is Monday. So it's like the Friday and
Tuesday is my least favourite day. I hate a Tuesday. It's just a nothing day.
Really? I don't, right, okay. We'll slightly deviate from our processes, okay? What is your ranking your favourite days? What's your favourite to your worst?
For work or for life?
Anything, just for what days, when you think of them, you think, good day. Which days do you think of and go, I hate that day?
I hate a Tuesday. And I'm not a big fan of... No, just a Tuesday. I really just hate Tuesdays.
Wednesday, I'm not fussed on. I'm not fussed on a Wednesday.
See, because Wednesday I always take as my business day, and I'm very excited about the business.
Yeah.
But I think when I was employed, it was very different. Always hated a Tuesday because it was just nothing. Monday, I was always quite excited to see everyone, so I was quite buzzing for a Monday.
Yeah.
And then the reality of that I had to see them again the Tuesday, I was like,
I've had enough of you.
I get a bit Wednesday morning at 12 o'clock, I would go 12:01. We're at the good half of the week, and then that's it.
The hump, and that from that point on, Thursday and Friday are good.
But now Fridays, I love working a Saturday, Sunday because no one else is working. So see that constant, I don't feel like I get enough done because people are always contacting me. Nobody's going to contact me, so I can sit and work. I grudge working a Saturday because I think, this is my weekend, this is my day, everyone else is having fun. A Sunday is a lazy day, it's a hungover day. It's a day where I could sit. I don't actually necessarily work in the office. I'll sit with a laptop on my laptop in the living room. I'll have probably The Simpsons on again and just sit and do what I want to do at my pace, and I really love that. But no, I don't know why Tuesdays are horrendous.
Funny. It's not funny.
I got a sunrise lamp the other day, though, to try and help me be a better person in the morning.
Yeah. Or just a better person.
Just a better person.
Better person.
Do you know, it worked, because the first day that I tried it, it was, I was like, what is this glorious sun? I can see even my eyes were shut. And then its little birds started tweeting. I was like, oh, I got that lamp. That was nice. And then I woke up going, oh, that was such a nice way to wake up. A couple of days later, see the fucking birds. I need to turn the birds off.
Smashed it.
So I turned the birds off. I thought, I don't need birds tweeting at me at 7 in the morning. I just need the light. So I'll turn the sound off. The light's fine. Next day. So, are you joking? Is that the time already? Then you turn it off and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And you're like, what time is it?
So is this day like that? Is this one of these ones that gradually lightens up?
It's amazing. It is amazing because the light wakes you up. and it does make you feel nice. When I wake up and I open my eyes and it's this beautiful glow,
Yeah.
I go, oh, good morning.
Oh, the house is on fire.
See, when you see, it's not good in the winter because you turn it off. I think it's meant for the winter as well. You turn it off and it's in darkness and it's raining outside, and you go,
Yeah,
reality.
exactly. Exactly. So Tuesday's not. I'll bear that in mind and not to contact you at
I
10.
have. Do you know? It's not that I'm not a morning person. You will get me the same way all day. To be honest, if you if you pop by my house at like 7 in the morning, you would get me like this. I'd be like, "Hiya, how's it?" I mean, you'd get me with probably the lipstick, but you'd get. I'd be normal, and if you phoned me at 9 o'clock or something, you'll get me as I am now. I just don't really want to have to speak to you if I can help it before, because that's my time. That's what
Isn't it interesting? Yeah. I was talking to a business coach way back. I had a business coach way back. I remember saying that she loved Monday mornings because that was the first day of making money during the week. And actually,
what a good way to think about it.
well, is it? I actually turned my stomach slightly. I've got to be a wee bit honest.
I mean, but I don't really look at what I do as money, which is probably why I'm poor. But I suppose if I was that lawyer, I would.
Yeah.
If I was a lawyer, I'd wake up and go, right, this is a good day to make money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a mental thing and how you look at things and what you want from it. She wanted money. Her thing was, I want money. So this is a great week because this is a great week of making money. And when she said it, I was like, yeah, I've never woken up on any day and gone, do you know what? This is a great day to make money. I've never been that. So she said it was like, it kind of, I think we had a conversation about it because I think she saw my facial expression.
I wonder if that will. I mean, the money side of it definitely helped me strip back on unnecessary meetings and networking, because I started going, am I making money from this?
Yeah.
Right, well, go put your time into what you need to do to make. Although I can appreciate that they are very important to building a business. I was spending a lot of time networking and doing everything, and then I was going, this isn't paying the bills. You know, I've made lots of great friends, but it's not paying the bills. Whereas, so that the money side helped me rein that in, but I don't think I could wake up and go, because that would. What did she do? What was her job?
She was a business coach.
So a client, that to me, a client's just money to her then.
Yeah.
And that's just, but
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah. That was my big gripe, and that's why I kind of stopped because
No, you couldn't. I couldn't do that because I don't look at one of my clients and go, right, that's money, so I need to do it. I go, because it's project based. You know, I'll go that.
You look at the client when they talk to you, you go, I've got a fantastic idea, and I can do that.
For free.
It's ideas.
It's project based, so I'm sitting going, right.
It's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, I suppose if I was I don't know, if I worked for a company and I had targets to do something, I can imagine maybe having to change my mindset to that.
Yeah.
But even that one of my jobs I had was working in car insurance, one of my first jobs. And that was very KPI, like target. I'm like, I don't care. Like, who cares? I would be sitting on the phone chatting away to somebody going, did they take that? Did they take the quote? No, but did you know?
Well, did you know the weather in Kent is particularly atrocious at the moment?
They are not having a good time. And they were going to get a Kia, but they didn't.
Yeah.
That's great. Didn't they sell them? But there we go. That's why that job failed.
Yeah. But interesting, just so you have got a very defined process. So your thing is, and I'm up till 10:30. It's you kind of stuff. Wednesday is on the business.
Yeah.
So there is a process there to get to expand the business and get more kind of clients and that. So it's quite defined and kind of time, or that you've got a defined time on certain things.
Yeah, so I would take, so where normal people would maybe say, all right, a Sunday or a Saturday or Sunday, then I can do some stuff on the business when it's quieter and I don't need to deal with the client stuff. I prefer to deal with the client stuff when they're quiet. So when they're off enjoying themselves, I can deal with what I need to get done. And it comes back to that wanting to be ahead of the game for them.
Yeah.
I want to be at a point if one of my clients phone me on the Monday, I can say, oh, I've done that because I did it the Sunday. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
But do not phone me before 10:30 because that's the gift I give to myself. It's like you
You know
chose.
what I'm going to do every day from now on? As soon as it hits 9 o'clock, I'm like, hello, leave a message. Contact you on WhatsApp, Messenger. I'll leave voice notes and I'll email as well, just to
Oh my
annoy you,
God.
like that you might stab me.
I actually feel stressed at the thought.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, if that's the interesting thing about work for yourself, you get to work to the way that works for you. And I think we
I,
were doing.
I do get another burst of energy later on at night, and I do get more. So it never worked for me to be. I would always get this kind of creative slump around lunchish time, even if it whether I was hungry or not. Just usually between 1, 2, 3, I was kind of useless to you if I worked for you. And it never made sense for me to do a 9 to 5 because, a good 2, 3 hours of that, I don't feel like I'm very good at anything. And then I would get to like 4, 5, 6. I'm like, you should have kept me on an extra hour. I would have been better
Yeah.
doing that. And then it's again, if you think the 9 to 5 that most people have, if I don't really like getting involved with anything or speaking to anyone or doing anything until 10:30, that's an hour and a half where I was forced into having conversations with people and forced into thinking out with what my brain wants to be like. Like a 9 to 5 did not match the way that my brain works because up until, in fact, most of the time from 9 until 10:30, I would do admin work so that I don't need to speak to anyone, don't need to do anything, I don't have anything like that. I can just sit and do monotonous tasks. That's fine. Blah blah blah. 10:30, right? Fine, we're good.
I suppose it just shows that how we're all different and how now, especially, I think people understand if we work different patterns. I think 30, 40, 50, however it would have been, that's, you work everybody was 9 to 5. Or if you were kind of maybe in a kind of a manual thing, maybe 8 o'clock till 4 or something like that. But I think now because people work different hours and different times, I know somebody who's got quite a lot of clients in America, so they tend to work later. So they have a kind of the mornings their own, and they I think it's like 12 till 9 or 4 to 9, whatever it is. That's how they kind of work. They've got kind of clients in America, so it kind of works, and they like that because it gives them the freedom to do in the morning what they want to do. Whereas for me, that would drive me nuts. I couldn't do a 12 to 9 at night. That would drive me insane.
I would rather do that than the opposite way about.
And I'd rather 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning till 4, rather than the other way around. I like my nights. I like watching Netflix and crap like that.
This is why if we mush together, we could have a 24-hour
24-hour
business.
agency. Do you know what? I wonder if there actually is anybody out there with a 24-hour.
Well, because then, you must. If you've got international clients, you would need to.
Yeah.
So there we go. We've got an idea. 24-hour agency.
I was talking to somebody earlier on who's got a VA business, and she's from the Philippines, or family's from the Philippines, and the people she works with, that she tries to get jobs, are in the Philippines. And we were talking about how it can work in the UK if you have got somebody who's a VA from 8 hours or 7 hours. When you're finishing your day and you send them work, by the time you come back in the morning, that work's almost pretty much done.
Mm-hmm.
So for a client where it could work.
That's quite a good way to work.
Quite way. So if you have somebody in Australia who's a a client, or it can work because
maybe that's what I need.
Yeah.
Maybe I need an international client so that they can send me the stuff. I don't need to look at it. Then I do it in my time, send it over.
And everybody's happy.
Everyone's
all kind
happy.
of works out. It all kind of works out. But then they might phone you their time and it's like 9 o'clock AM.
Oh God, I know. No, that's true.
UK time. So you've got to watch factor that in as well. You've got to be really careful how you do your times.
Do you think I could put on my phone like an answer machine that says "Don't speak to me until 10:30"?
Absolutely. I do. I know a couple of people who what they do is they have email responders and WhatsApp. And the email says, and the one person said, due to hectic kind of our busy schedule, I'm out doing things. I will respond to you by 4 o'clock today.
Yeah.
They get back and it really works for them. I know somebody else says just because of my commitment to my family and things like that, I might not be able to answer you, but I will get back to you at some point. So it does work where you can just, I think it's you setting the boundaries.
Due to my inability to manage my own time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to write. I'm going to have an automation that says, due to my inability to actually stick to my schedule and plan,
Yeah.
who knows when you'll get a response, but
You
you will get one.
You might get one at some point.
Perhaps. That'd be fun. I might actually do just a little automation like that just says, maybe I'll, in fact, that is what my WhatsApp status says. Maybe I'll reply, maybe I won't.
Yeah. Yeah. But so interestingly, so I suppose every single person will have their own kind of processes and look at all the people who I've got loads of business books that I've never read, but all the kind of process books that are out
But
there.
that's a topic we're going to need to go into then.
That is a topic. But look at all the people who don't have their own kind of process, but will read books to find out a successful person's process and the Pomodoro effect and all these kind of things and things you can do to kind of manage your time. When you think of it, it should be quite an easy process, but we're all
we're so different.
So different in our way how we do manage our time, and our processes are all completely different.
Well, that's it.
They're all different.
That's how, like, if I take on like a team, I would need to work with their process. Like, I would need to have it so that I think it's a good time to kind of be like that, because I suppose we can do like a freelancy thing where it's go and work. If you're a morning person, go for it, but don't speak to me unless it's between these hours.
Yeah.
And I'll do the vice versa. But you couldn't really make someone else work to your process. So we really do need to go into that in a different thing about why people do follow these business books.
Yeah.
For someone's process that doesn't make sense.
Some of us don't. Some of them have got a fine collection of business books. Some of us sometimes pick them up and look at them and wipe the dust off them and then go, I'm putting them back in the shelf where they belong.
I've got a couple here.
There's probably a book up there that if I read it, it would just blow my mind and the whole business would change overnight. And I go, oh my God, everything's so fantastic and wonderful. But yeah, I think the reason not is probably for another kind of conversation as to I should actually send some of these books out to you and you can see what you think of them.
Just do a wee swap, a book swap.
I'll swap a book and it'll go on my shelf and I will read it. That's it.
Well, let's talk about that in the next one, and we should have a guest soon, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that'd be quite good. Yeah,
we've got a bunch of guests lined up, and yeah, so it'd be quite good to see what they say, if they follow any of these business books or podcasts or anything.
How to be a millionaire this time next year.
With these 5 steps.
These 5 steps.
That 1 million people have read the book and no one's a millionaire.
Nobody's a millionaire. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that. Let's get a guest on. Let's talk about business books. Do they work? Do we read them? Do we not? Or my compulsion to buy them and then never read them? What's that about?
I know. Is it just so that we look good in front of the people at Waterstones?
Yeah. Yeah. When we're buying a kind of trashy kind of thriller horror thing. Or a book cover, fantasy book with elves in the cover. That's not.
Do you know, I used to work.
I'm buying the business book. That's for my nephew.
Off topic. I actually, well, not off topic. Is I used to work in Borders bookshop.
Oh, did you? The one in Buchanan Street.
I worked in the one in Glasgow Fort, and then I moved to the one in Buchanan Street. But they used to have like loads of porn books all the time, and people would or porn magazines, and they'd put them inside other books to give to you, so that they didn't have to, like, when you were scanning them, you would have to be like discreet for them. I was never discreet.
Oh my God, I didn't know Borders would sell magazines like that.
Price check on Playboy.
Boy.
Penthouse. That was an eye opener.
That's interesting. That I would never have thought that Borders would have stopped. But then I suppose
Oh, yeah, no, because they'd porn books, they had porn magazines, and then they had DVD selection, Doctor Screw.
oh my God,
How they didn't survive, I don't know.
that is a whole that's got to be a conversation for another kind of podcast. That one that's quite yeah.
But so that's
Yeah,
just
okay.
that's my finisher on this
That's
whole
it.
topic.
I will have a conversation about Watson's books and stuff that because I used to do work for Watson's in Sucky Hall Street.
Oh boo, you were the
So they had
enemy.
their own events manager, Bob McDevitt, who's a brilliant, brilliant guy. So I used to go out nights out with the people, and they used to tell me stories about some of the stranger customers that used to come in, and people who were kind of perpetually going into the store to particular sections, and things would happen.
I have got a million stories about Borders that I could tell you.
Right.
So right, so the next one we'll talk about books, we'll talk
Yeah.
about business books, and then we'll talk about the seedy world of
CD world of
Borders.
that's definitely going to have that different classification of have to put that podcast out, the restricted viewing.
Perfect. Well, I think we've successfully recorded, so I'm going to hit stop.
Perfect.
And yeah, let's hope.
Good one.